We are back on our normal day and time. I am your host, Bloody Bill Vox, and this is WWE 2K23 Fantasy Warfare. This week, the women of Fantasy Warfare take center stage as all 6 of our matches this week feature the female legends and stars. Without wasting any more of your time listening to me talk, let's get into the 6 action-packed matches we have this week on Fantasy Warfare. Our opening contest this week sees a star of today taking on a rising star of tomorrow as Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, goes one-on-one with Cora Jade. And then in our second contest of the week, it will be a Falls Count Anywhere match as Vachon will go one-on-one with Saraya. And then our third match of the week will see wrestling powerhouses collide as Nikkita Lyons of NXT goes up against WWE Hall of Famer and 9th Wonder of the World, Chyna. And then in our fourth matchup of the week, it will be a ladder match for bragging rights as Io Sky goes up against Bull Nakano. Our fifth match of the week, we'll see 2 contrasting styles colliding here in the Fantasy Warfare ring as Masha Slamovich goes one-on-one with Mercedes Mone. And then in our main event of the week, it will be a Hell in a Cell matchup as the current AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter steps into the devastating structure against the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. What a week we have this week on Fantasy Warfare. Let's go down to the ring.
Is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from Chicago, Illinois, Cora Jade. And from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
Welcome down to ringside, everybody, for our all-female spectacular this week here on Fantasy Warfare. We kick things off with Cora Jade and Britt Baker going one-on-one this week in a singles match to kick things off this week. We are back on our normal day and time. Last week we had to throw it to Saturday, had some production issues. Couple things hampering the show, had to delay things by a day. But we are back on Friday. Thank you for joining us here this week on Fantasy Warfare. Of course, as we said at the top of the show, I am Bloody Bill Vox. We have 6 action-packed matches this week. Of course, the action is already underway as I'm sitting here talking about it. We got Cora Jade of NXT going up against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD of AEW. Cora Jade sends Britt into the corner and then nails her with a nice knife-edge chop, putting that leg in the ropes and then kicking it hard, looking to take away the standing base of Britt Baker. If I were Cora, I wouldn't work on the legs. I'd work on her arms because that's what she's going to use for the lockjaw. But, I mean, throwing her to the floor like a sack of bricks will also do the trick as well. We've got one hell of a week coming up for you. Of course, our main event this week is a Hell in a Cell match between the current AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter and Asuka We've also got a ladder match between Io Sky. We've got a Falls Count Anywhere match between Saraya and Luna Vachon. We've got Nikkita Lyons going up against Chyna. And if I had my copy sitting nearby, I would know this fifth match that I am blanking from my memory right now. Hey, these things happen. It's Masha Slamovich against Mercedes Mone. I don't know why my brain always wants to say Slamovich. I've probably said it wrong more than I've said it right on this show, but it's Masha Slamovich going up against Mercedes Mone. It's the current GEW World... GEW. That's our good buddy Abel Magwitch over on Twitch. But the current GCW World Champion, Masha Slamovich, going up against the former IWGP Women's World Champion, Mercedes Mone, who unfortunately suffered a bit of an injury this past weekend. Seems she broke her ankle, sending out our well wishes to Mercedes Mone for a speedy recovery and a return back to the IWGP rings. And in the midst of talking about that injury, we missed one hell of a superplex by Cora Jade and Britt Baker that has got the audience chanting, "This is awesome." Cora Jade in firm control of this one right now. Oh, damn. She just super kicked the hell out of the good doctor right in the side of the head. Britt Baker on the defensive big time. She needs to get back into this one, folks. And if she doesn't do that soon, she is not going to be able to pick up a victory here this week in Fantasy Warfare. Britt Baker has been quite successful in many of her Fantasy Warfare forays, but this week, up until just a moment ago, it wasn't looking like she was going to have another one of those successful runs here in Fantasy Warfare, but she is back on the offense one more time, going after Cora Jade, but Cora is countering out and drives her face right into the knee before hitting him with a senton bomb, and Britt now rolling out to the ring apron to try and buy herself a moment. Cora Jade in true dominant fashion here this week, countered by Britt Baker, though. Britt back in the ring, locks up the Cora Jade, Irish whip, short arm, boot to the midsection, a knee. Cora catches that kick, and a nice dragon screw takes the doctor back down to the mat. Every time Britt Baker gets a little bit of offense going, Cora Jade is able to just squash out that offense, snuff it out like a candle. Into the cover. Referee in great position for that one to see the shoulders, but we only get a count of 2. Cora now stomping away, almost taking a page out of the playbook of WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin, but here comes Britt Baker coming back with a series of clotheslines, catches a boot, sweeps the leg. Cora is down and Britt Baker is fired up here. Boot to the midsection. Could it be a stomp? Yes, it is. Big time stomp by Britt Baker. Not quite sure why she didn't go for a cover there. That's because she wants to go for a lockjaw. She's got it locked in. The lockjaw is in. Can Cora Jade... I feel like all she got to do is put a foot on the rope. She is right next to the ropes there, but Cora Jade is locked hard. I don't think she even knows where she's at. Able to counter with a knee to the side of the head on Britt Baker, breaking the lockjaw. And then hitting her with a Luthez press, coming down with the Fist of Fury. Cora Jade withstanding not only the stomp, but also the lockjaw. Sliced bread number 2 out of Cora Jade into the cover on Britt Baker. We got a count, and we only get 2 as Britt Baker able to get that shoulder up at the very last second, avoiding defeat at the hands of Cora Jade. But Cora not giving Britt any time to breathe. She is up on the top rope. Big time senton off the top rope, down across the sternum of Britt Baker. We get a count, and that's all she wrote, folks. Cora Jade gets a big-time victory here this week in Fantasy Warfare, dispatching of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I'd have to say that, I'd be lying if I said it was anything but a dominant victory for Cora Jade. But speaking of dominance, we got 2 dominant females coming up next. 2 of the most wild personalities in wrestling history. It's Falls Count Anywhere. Up next on Fantasy Warfare, as Luna Vachon goes one-on-one with Saraya.
is a Falls Count Anywhere match. Making her way to the ring from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, welcome.
Welcome back down to ringside, everybody. It is Falls Count Anywhere here on Fantasy Warfare. Saraya representing the Outcasts in AEW. Luna Vachon, an outcast all unto herself. Falls Count Anywhere, so that means, well, you nailed it, folks. The final fall can count anywhere. Pinfall, submission, or knockout may occur anywhere in the building. Anything goes otherwise. No disqualifications, no countouts. Hell, you can kick the referee in his silly face if you want to and get the victory as Saraya comes out of the corner with a springboard into a suplex. Unique offense by Saraya on Luna Vachon. Short arm reversal drops Luna with a hard clothesline. Saraya off to a great start here in this Falls Count Anywhere match with Luna Vachon, and you don't want to give Luna a chance to breathe. She is so wild with her violence that as soon as she gets the opportunity, it is done for you. Saraya going back to that springboard suplex. Whatever you got to do to keep Luna Vachon down. You've seen her in the past when she's gotten her hands on various females she's wanted to brutalize. Immediately coming to mind, Sensational Sherry at WrestleMania 9, and any time that Luna got her hands on Sable in 1998 and even late 1997. Luna Vachon is just vicious. Irish whip, short arm. Oh, nice headbutt by Luna onto Saraya. Stomping on her like she means nothing. Luna brings Saraya back up to her feet. Locks up with her. Up against the ropes. Irish whip sends her off. And we get a collision there in the center of the ring. Looks like nobody knew exactly what to make of the other, so they just collided, and Saraya recovers with a nice clothesline, dropping Luna Vachon down to the ring. For a match that is Falls Count Anywhere, these two are definitely staying inside the ring thus far. There's been no weaponry to speak of. It has just been straight up these two laying into each other with their fists and their feet. As I say fists and feet, Saraya lands a nice drop kick right to the face of Luna Vachon before driving a knee right into the side of the head. Saraya with a hard shot. Luna is dazed on the ropes. Luna continuing to hammer away on Saraya. Saraya continuing to hammer away on Luna. Maybe that's just what my brain wants to see, is Luna hammering away on Saraya. Saraya in total dominant form right now. And apparently letting us know she's got some primal screams as well. Hee-ah! That's mine. That was mine. I did a good one there. Hee-ah! There's another one. Apparently you just let him out whenever you're feeling it. Hoo-ah! There we go. There's another one. I felt really good there. That one felt like the best of the three. I don't think it gets any better than that last one. And Saraya's hoping it doesn't get any better than that, but Luna kicks right the hell out of that pinfall. For all the punishment Luna is taking in this matchup, for her to kick out at a 1 is quite remarkable. Going for the page turner. Oh, no deal. She renamed that one in AEW yet? I'm not sure. Nice DDT by Luna. We'll call it the page turner for now until she, chimes in with a name. We get a near fall on that one. Luna frustrated after that nice DDT, driving Saraya headfirst into the mat, looking to take advantage of the old neck injury of Saraya. Big time flying headbutt by Luna into Saraya. Referee is there with a count. And that's all. Luna Vachon puts it away quick. A nice devastating DDT followed up by a flying headbutt. And that is all she wrote for Saraya, who had one hell of a dominating performance, but it was seemingly the DDT and the flying headbutt that did the trick. Oh, what a victory for Luna Vachon this week here on Fantasy Warfare, but the action is going to continue coming up next. Two big-time powerhouses in pro wrestling are going to collide as NXT's Nikkita Lyons looks to put down and defeat the 9th wonder of the world, Chyna. That's coming up next.
The following contest is a no-holds-barred match. Making her way to the ring from Las Vegas, Nevada, Nikkita Lyons. Beach, California, the 9th wonder of the world, Chyna!
Welcome back down to ringside for our third match of the week. We are about halfway through this week's episode. The women thus far have been fast and furious in their beatdowns of each other. This one, straight up bragging rights, no stipulations, standard rules apply. It's Nikkita Lyons and Chyna here in our third match of the week this week on Fantasy Warfare. Nikkita Lyons has made quite a splash in NXT immediately upon her debut. Unfortunately, she is currently out of action on NXT television with a knee injury, but she is in action this week here on Fantasy Warfare. It will certainly be interesting to see what sort of impact Nikkita Lyons is able to make when she is able to make a return to television once she has finished rehabbing that knee. But the beauty of Fantasy Warfare here is there's no injuries to sideline anybody. Somebody can literally be thrown off of a Hell in a Cell and come out for the next match. That's how we roll here. We got super regenerative powers. I can't even say it right. We regenerate things here. There we go. I should have said it that way to begin with. Then I wouldn't have sounded so dumb. And there's our one weekly tangent. I feel like at this point I owe you guys listening in, you guys, you gals, you humans listening in, watching Fantasy Warfare, even the animals and the pups and the plants and the foods. Everything has ears. They all have ears, and they're all listening to us. That's right, they are. And they're listening to everything I say here on Fantasy Warfare, so I feel I owe all of those entities a rant per week, a tangent, if you will. And that concludes this week's tangent that began with me simply trying to be too fancy with my words and sounding like a goon. Getting back to the action, though, here on Fantasy Warfare, Chyna in control of Nikkita Lyons with a nice whiplash, sends the powerhouse of NXT onto her back. Chyna up on her feet, Irish whip, short arm with a clothesline, takes Nikkita down. Nikkita needs to recover here quick. Chyna is settling into the offense, and if you let Chyna settle into the offense, you might as well reserve your place at the loser's window for that lesser pay envelope for your performance this night, and it's sure looking like Nikkita Lyons ain't gonna be leaving here with the winner's share of the purse as Chyna hits a pedigree on Nikkita Lyons. This has got to be all for her. Referee is there, and we get 3. The match is done. In quick and dominant fashion, Chyna puts away Nikkita Lyons here this week in Fantasy Warfare. I feel like we just got started with this one, and we're already hearing the Chyna theme one more time, and we are getting ready for our next matchup, which will be a ladder match between 2 Japanese superstars, one of whom is making a splash in WWE now, one of whom made a splash in WWE in the past. Coming up next, it will be Io Sky going one-on-one with Bull Nakano in a ladder match for bragging rights.
The following contest is a ladder match. Making her way to the ring from Japan, the Bull. Representing Damage Control from Tokyo, Japan, Io Sky!
Welcome back to Fantasy Warfare, everybody. You just saw very briefly the case hanging above the ring. Once again, I suspect it's a souvenir Money in the Bank case that we stole from the concession stand and just stuffed a piece of paper inside that says bragging rights, but that is yet to be confirmed. Regardless, in this week's ladder match of bragging rights, it's Io Sky going up against Bull Nakano. Object of this one is very simple. Climb the ladder, retrieve the case. Anything goes otherwise. As Bull Nakano enters for the ladder, and Io Sky does the same. Oh, Bull Nakano just got taken out by the ladder Io Sky had. Bull with a forearm shot to the back, sends Io off the ropes. That ladder's just going bananas over there. That ladder was like floaty. Bull Nakano with a lockup on Io Sky, bringing her over to the ropes. Counter by Io Sky with the elbows. Io Sky trying for that lockup with Bull Nakano, but she's having a weight or a size issue here. Bull Nakano was able to just kind of swat her away on those first two. There is a size difference between these two. Bull Nakano has probably got, I don't know. You know, I'm not going to speculate how much weight she's got. We'll just say Bull Nakano is bigger than Io Sky, and that will certainly play into her favor in this one. But in the case of Io Sky being smaller, maybe a little more agile, that could make climbing the ladder a little bit easier for her in this contest, as Io Sky is already up there going for the ladder. Or going for the briefcase, excuse me. She was already up the ladder. Bull Nakano hammering from behind. Could she be going for it? Yes, she is. Power bomb off the ladder by Bull Nakano. Bull Nakano now up on the top of the ladder. She's grabbing the case, looking to make some progress with that crazy combo lock up there. Then Bull Nakano takes a hard fall off the top of the ladder after Io Sky just leveled her right in the lower spine with repeated shots. Irish whip, short arm, into a Hurricane Rana. Nice short arm counter by Io Sky, but she gets countered again by Bull Nakano. Kicked her right in her face. Sidewalk slam drops Io Sky right on the mat. Bull Nakano in firm control right now. Oh, nasty power bomb by Bull Nakano, followed up by a nasty elbow drop right into the sternum. Bull Nakano racing up the ladder, looking to get to that case while Io Sky's a little dazed and confused, but she doesn't do anything when she gets up there. That allowed Io Sky to club her from behind. She could have made a little bit of progress with that combo lock up there, but unfortunately for Bull Nakano, she just took a back first fall off the ladder, and Io Sky now looking to send Bull Nakano off the ropes. She gets her again with that counter Hurricane Rana. Bull Nakano on the floor. Io comes running. Bull catches her. Gets her up over the shoulders. Down across the ring apron goes Io Sky. And then Bull Nakano drops down all the way with a massive splash. But Io Sky springs back up to her feet. And this match continues. Bull Nakano got her again. And again off the ring apron. Will Io Sky spring up this time? It doesn't look like she's going to as quickly as she did the first time. Bull Nakano now stepping on the lower spine before adding insult to injury with that stomp right into the lower lumbar of Io Sky. Io is a little dazed, confused. Bull Nakano was grabbing for a kendo stick, but Io counters her with another Hurricane Rana. Bull Nakano pressing her up in the air. And a little bit of press action just to show off before dumping Io Sky. Chest and stomach first on the floor. The ladder gets knocked over in the ring. Bull Nakano now with that ladder. She went to go hit Io Sky with it, but Io Sky was able to get into the Irish whip before that happened. Io Sky now lifting up that ladder that fell, bringing it over to a corner, leading it. She could have some evil intentions with that ladder, that's for sure. Short arm by Bull Nakano. Hard shot to the back of the head. Io Sky dazed and confused. Irish whip off the ropes, and a nice back elbow drops the member of Damage Control. Big time splash again by Bull Nakano, driving all the wind. Wait a minute. That's Dakota Kai. She just appeared at ringside. No music, no nothing. Here she comes. Oh, what a devastating move there. Driving the knees right into the back. Sue me for not knowing the name of it right now. All I can think about when I saw Dakota Kai is what a great human being she is. Unfortunately, suffering a torn ACL while protecting another fellow injured WWE superstar, Liv Morgan. Both slated to miss considerable amount of time with their injuries. So again, as we did earlier on with Mercedes Mone, we'd like to send out our wishes for a speedy recovery to both Dakota Kai and Liv Morgan, who unfortunately got hit with that injury bug recently in the exact same match. Dakota Kai tried to protect Liv Morgan, suffering the injury herself. Very sad story all around, but we got to give Dakota Kai her extra props for showing what kind of not only human being she is, but also professional wrestler, protecting her fellow worker, putting herself at risk, and ultimately paying the price. But it could have been a price that was paid much heavier by Liv Morgan. We don't really know. All the same, well wishes for a speedy recovery to Dakota Kai and Liv Morgan. Bull Nakano now climbing up to the top of the ladder. She is uninterrupted. She has laid waste to Io Sky. Io Sky needs to get up to her feet sooner. She is going to walk out of here without those bragging rights they are both competing for. And Bull Nakano secures the briefcase, and she wins this ladder match for bragging rights here this week on Fantasy Warfare. What a matchup between these two, but ultimately it's Bull Nakano walking out of here with the victory. Coming up next, it's our fifth match of the week, a singles encounter between GCW champion Masha Slamovich and Mercedes Mone.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from your darkest fears, the Russian Gladiator.
Mone.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here down at ringside, our fifth match of the week. It's Masha Slamovich and Mercedes Mone. Of course, Masha, the current GCW World Champion, and Mercedes Mone, as we have talked about throughout the episode tonight, unfortunately reported to have broken her ankle over the weekend at New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong in the tournament finals against Willow Nightingale. So once again, we send our speedy wishes for recovery out there to Mercedes Mone. But here at Fantasy Warfare, she's tipped up. She's 100%. We already fixed that broken ankle. And she's in here against the GCW World Champion, Masha Slamovich. Of course, Masha's been tearing up the wrestling world as of late, defeating the deathmatch legend himself, Nick Gage, to become the GCW World Champion to begin with, and having kicked off a dominant reign as champion thus far for the GCW brand. Of course, Mercedes Mone has having her challenges in New Japan Pro Wrestling, having a brief run as a women's champion before losing the title, and then before she could snag herself another piece of gold, as we've noted, broke her ankle. But here this week, it's a battle for bragging rights between these two. And Masha looking to take those bragging rights seriously. Sending Mercedes Mone down at ringside, stomping on her face. That's brutal. The guardrail kind of blocking things a little bit, so we can't really see all the impact of those kicks to the face. But Masha laying it in on the skull of Mercedes Mone. Masha soaking in the cheers of the crowd here at the Fantasy Warfare Arena here this week. Loud and rowdy audience each and every week here on Fantasy Warfare. A rowdy audience on YouTube, rowdy everywhere. We've got rowdy fans all over the place. We couldn't do it all without you. So quick thanks to our audience of Fantasy Warfare as Mercedes Mone is looking to say thanks to Masha for finally taking her boot off of her throat. Masha mounting Mercedes Mone with a series of punches here, just clubbing down without mercy. Rolling over into the cover. Referee is there. We get a count, and we only get one. Barely had a chance to settle into that, even being a pinfall before Mercedes was kicking out of that, but Masha right back into the driver's seat, not letting Mercedes catch her breath or get back up. And as I say that, she does exactly that, and Mercedes makes her pay, pulling the feet out from underneath Masha, face first into the turnbuckle, followed up with that DDT. And now Mercedes kind of rubbing it in Masha's face. And thankfully for her, it does not come back to bite her as she's able to drop Masha to her knees with a knee to the stomach. Cranking away at the neck before whipping her backwards onto the mat. Mercedes locks up. Oh, short arm. Eat defeat by Masha on Mercedes. Oh, nice jumping knee by Masha. Continuing to drive home that cranial trauma. She's just been beating on the skull of Mercedes Mone almost since the opening bell of this contest. Mercedes Mone might need her a brain scan after this one. That's okay, it's Fantasy Warfare. We have the technology. We'll stem cell her or something, whatever. We can do whatever we want here. It's Fantasy Warfare. Apparently we can't hit drop kicks in Fantasy Warfare, though, because Mercedes Mone whiffed on that one big time. She didn't whiff on that one, though. Masha dropped back down with a knee to the gut one more time. Mercedes continuing to have a dominant run here over Masha Slamovich here. Big victory it would be to defeat the GCW World Champion. Sure, it might be Fantasy Warfare, but all the same, a win is a win, man. A win is a win. Mercedes taking that moment to pose. Big time mistake. Masha clubs her right in the lower spine. She falls, but then Masha makes a similar error, and Mercedes looks to make her pay with an Irish whip that sends her over the top rope and down to the floor. Masha back in the ring. Irish whip, short arm, knee to the midsection again by Mercedes. Irish whip, catches her with the drop kick this time. So Mercedes had to make up for that last one. She whiffed big time on. Going for a neck breaker, straight jacket style. In the neck breaker, followed with the cover. Pinned by Mercedes, only a count of 2. We got a bank statement, a money statement, income statement, Mercedes Mone lock. I don't even know what she calls it these days. I should look that up, but she's got it locked in, whatever it is. But Mercedes is not able to get Masha to tap out. Masha breaks the hold, and this match will continue. Irish whip sends her off the ropes. Nice drop kick to the knees, taking the legs out from underneath Mercedes Mone. She kicked her leg right out of her leg. Nice maneuver there by Masha into the cover. Referee in great position to look at those shoulders and only getting a count of 2 as Mercedes able to power through and kick out before the referee came down for the count of 3. Mercedes rolling out to the floor to catch herself a breather, but Masha following her to the floor. And this fight continues, but Masha spending too much time with the primal screams. Maybe she spent a little too much time watching that Saraya match earlier on tonight and thought maybe, hey, I'll get some screams in myself. That one felt good. Not as good as that one earlier, but, you know, still felt all right. Masha recovering on the floor. Mercedes breaks the count to go back out to the floor. Referee will reset on that one as Mercedes with a suplex across the guardrail, driving Masha ribs first into the guardrail, following it up with a hard forearm shot. Into the guardrail again goes Mercedes Mone. Or excuse me, Masha Slamovich. Masha posing on the floor. Mercedes writhing in pain in the ring. Masha re-entering the ring. She gets met with a clothesline and a second one. Catching the boot. Sweeping the leg. Down goes Masha Slamovich as Mercedes Mone is feeling the momentum. She gets kicked back by Masha, though. Nice counter by the GCW World Champion. Uh-oh. Ow, and ow. I imagine that has got to be what Mercedes kind of sounded like there as she was having her sternum kicked in. Oh! Brutal brain buster. This could be all for Mercedes after that. And it is. Super duper shallow brain buster is what it takes as Masha Slamovich gets the victory over Mercedes Mone in a highly competitive contest here this week in Fantasy Warfare. But coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, will be our main event of the week. It will be a Hell in a Cell match between the current AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter and the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. Our main event of Fantasy Warfare is coming up next, so don't you dare go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, you can hear the crowd already giving the chant of Asuka's gonna kill you. That remains to be seen. We are officially underway. Our main event of the week here this week on Fantasy Warfare, a Hell in a Cell match. Man, we zipped through this one. These ladies were fast and furious this week. Looking at my counter here on the production table, looks like we're just over 46 minutes into this week's episode, and we are already at our main event of the week. I guess they really took to heart that they're not paid hourly. But all the same, here we are, Hell in a Cell match. You know the score. Anything goes. Falls count in the ring, but otherwise brawl wherever the hell you want to. There's the top of the cell. There's around the ring. There's ringside if you break the damn cage walls. Everything is at your disposal in this Hell in a Cell match as Asuka has Jamie Hayter in the corner. Coming out with a bulldog, could it be? Yes, it is. Nice bulldog by Asuka down into the cover. Referee right there for the count. Only a count of one. A little too early to try and get a victory in this one. But all the same, you don't want to waste any opportunity to get a victory, especially in a match the magnitude of a Hell in a Cell match. Oh, dropping him down. Face first, dropping her right into the turnbuckle. Oh, that's a baseball bat. Jamie Hayter getting a little bit of peanut butter jelly and a baseball bat. Oof, ow. My goodness, Asuka just got brutalized with that damn bat. Holy moly. We told you anything was legal. Asuka already, though, going for those buzzsaw kicks. Bam! Right to the side of the head. Thought Asuka might have been looking for the hip attack. Jamie Hayter sliding out to the floor, looking under the ring apron. What's she gonna grab? She's got a steel chair. Re-entering the ring, but Asuka greets her with a lockup, sends her into the far corner, and Asuka now in possession of that steel chair. Oh, right to the head. Jamie Hayter rolls out of the way before she gets brutalized a little extra. Asuka was dumping that chair out of the ring. Jamie Hayter came back in, Irish whip, drop down, and a nice back elbow takes down the Empress of Tomorrow. Jamie Hayter sent out over the top rope and down to the floor. Oh, nice European uppercut by Asuka sends Jamie Hayter over the ring steps. And now Jamie Hayter does exactly the same thing to Asuka, hopping those ring steps. Into the ring steps this time. No hopping them for you. Asuka sending Jamie Hayter knees and hips first into those ring steps. Little tough to see here as we got the fencing in the way. No cameras inside the Hell in a Cell, apparently. Not sure why we wouldn't stick at least one poor bastard in there to get the action, but you know, I don't deal with the unions and the paperwork and the staffing. That's other parts of the management team here. Nice knee to the side of the skull. As I say, the side of the skull. As Asuka returning those baseball bat shots that she suffered earlier from Jamie Hayter, now brutalizing Jamie Hayter like her name's The Rock and like Asuka is Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17. But we get a rock bottom by Jamie Hayter, taking Asuka down, but Asuka was quickly right back up on her feet. Nice clothesline by Jamie Hayter, taking down Asuka. Oh, backbreaker. Right down across the knee into the cover. Referee is there. Not great position, but we still get a 2 count on that one. Spinebuster. Oh, nice throw by Jamie Hayter. Thought she was setting her up for a spinebuster, but instead she's just thrown her. Now she's got the baseball bat again. Asuka able to keep that to one baseball bat shot to the dome. Asuka picking up Jamie Hayter, got her with an Irish whip. Short arm. Oh, it's the Asuka lock. She's got her in the Asuka lock. This could be all for Jamie Hayter if she can't break free. There's no rope breaks. Her only options are to break the hold or to tap out or even risk having her own limbs broken this one. Asuka's got that one locked in deep, but Jamie Hayter able to break the hold, breaking free, and she officially does. Back elbow to Asuka, breaking the Asuka lock. Not many people have been able to do that in history. Asuka runs into the referee. Irish whip sends her off the ropes. Drop down by Jamie Hayter. Oh, gnarly lariat. Gnarly lariats by Jamie Hayter. This could be all for Asuka, and it is. Jamie Hayter picks up the victory here this week in Fantasy Warfare, hitting that gnarly lariat. And that's all it took for the AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter, who heads into a big title defense on pay-per-view this weekend, 2 days from now at Double or Nothing. With Toni Storm, she gets a big victory heading in. But I'd like to thank you all for joining us for another exciting week of WWE 2K23 Fantasy Warfare. I'll see you next Friday right here at ringside.